She was a bright and beautiful 18-year-old with big dreams.
She always wanted to work at NASA. She was very smart in school.
She was the joy and the light of the family.
But on a cold winter night, that light is suddenly extinguished.
She was lying on the bed, covered in blood.
Was it an intentional act or was it an accident?
Can you tell us what happened?
They don't understand who could have done this to her.
The police only have one suspect.
People were saying, this is a bad person.
Yeah, they were like yelling at each other.
For a detective, that's a huge red flag.
But does the suspect have a motive?
This is your fault. There's so many things that are unsaid and unseen in relationships.
I don't care anymore, whatever.
They didn't know anything about him.
Every time.
One day, it just explodes.
Can the investigators pick up the pieces and put together a case against her killer?
I legit was scared. He was acting insane.
Juries are extremely unpredictable.
A lot of people don't get justice at all.
Police! Freeze!
January 16th, 2022. It's early Sunday in Indianapolis, Indiana, the Hoosier State's capital and largest city.
Indianapolis is a great place for you to raise your family.
There's tons of things to do, so it attracts a lot of people.
But the vibrant city shuts down on a bitter winter night.
It gets cold down there for sure.
It's quiet, the streets are typically empty.
At around 1:30 that morning, the wintertime quiet is about to be broken by the wail of sirens.
911 dispatch got 2 phone calls back to back.
Hello? Where's the location of your emergency? I don't know. I don't know.
The caller abruptly hangs up. But soon another call comes in from the same phone.
911, where's the location of your emergency?
911 gets a second call, and this one is even more desperate. This is coming from a woman caller.
I need help. Where are you?
Then that call abruptly ends as well.
However, the dispatcher is able to pinpoint where the calls originated.
GPS data from the cell phone showed that the call was made from an apartment complex on the southeast side of Indianapolis.
It's Ginging from East Hannah Avenue. He was crying and screaming before he hung up. Okay. I'm gonna send it out.
Police quickly arrive at the apartment complex and begin searching for the 911 callers.
They didn't know exactly which apartment it was. They happened to notice that there was a door open.
They walk inside the door and they see blood in the living room area. They go further into the apartment and they find a woman.
Ma'am, are you okay?
She's lying on the bed, covered with a blanket.
When they pulled back the blanket that she was covered in, there was a gunshot wound to the arm and to her torso.
I've got a gunshot wound in the EMT.
Police and paramedics attempt to stabilize the young woman, but she's lost a lot of blood.
Can you tell us what happened?
I can't.
Who did this?
She really couldn't tell police too much. All she could say was her name, Daytara.
In some ways, 18-year-old Daytara Johnson was a typical teenager.
She always had a big smile on her face. She just enjoyed life.
She was very social. She always had a lot of friends.
She was just the life of the party. Wherever we was at, she would just bring the energy.
She was going to make her presence be known for sure.
Everyone loved her and everyone enjoyed her presence.
But Daytera was far from typical.
Most kids be outside in the summertime playing. She'd be in the house reading books.
School was a breeze for her. She was very intelligent.
She made straight A's all 12 years in school. She was very gifted.
Eventually, Daytera focused that intelligence on a specific goal.
She wanted to be a mathematician and a physicist.
She always wanted to work for NASA.
After graduating from high school in 2021, Daytera moved into her own apartment.
She really loved her freedom. She loved her privacy and really just wanted to start that journey on her own and begin college soon.
The gifted student also caught the attention of the opposite sex.
Growing up, she was more of a tomboy. Then as she got older, she loved her long nails and lashes.
Daytera's a very beautiful girl. The dudes gravitated towards her.
But she really wasn't interested in a serious relationship because she didn't want anything to interfere with her independence, her education, or her career goals.
But that changed when she met 20-year-old Anthony York.
She met him from her friends.
Daytera and Anthony actually met the spring of 2021, and he was immediately smitten.
The attraction was mutual.
He didn't really talk too much, but he was cool.
I'm glad you finally had the nerve to tell me how you feel.
You're so beautiful, it's intimidating.
I definitely saw them liking each other, for sure.
That attraction was there from the beginning. And from there, they just built a relationship and really kicked it off.
With everything going her way, Daytera felt like she was on top of the world.
I got a gunshot wound in the EMT.
But now, her future hangs in the balance as paramedics struggle to keep her alive.
She has 2 gunshot wounds to her body.
She was losing a lot of blood, and the paramedics could see that the situation was critical.
Can you tell us what happened?
The officers ask over and over.
Who did this?
But there's no answer.
They knew that they had to try to get her to the hospital as soon as possible. Daytera is pretty much going in and out of the door.
Then she lost consciousness.
She can't tell them anything else.
18-year-old Daytera Johnson was enjoying the most exciting time of her life, becoming an adult with an apartment of her own.
Daytera was an independent young lady, able to get her first apartment at 18.
I was proud of her when she got her place.
She also had an exciting new relationship.
Friends had introduced her to 20-year-old Anthony York, and they had been dating ever since.
But now Daytera's life is hanging by a thread.
Daytera was found lying on the bed, bleeding from 2 gunshot wounds.
Daytera was still alive, but she was unconscious.
As Daytera is transported to the hospital, detectives arrive at the scene to begin their investigation.
One of the first things that the detectives noticed is that there was forced entry into the apartment. The door had been kicked in.
The apartment appears to be in a bit of a disarray, as if there was a struggle. It also appears to be blood in the living room.
And a clue to the weapon used by the shooter.
We got a shell casing.
Because the shell casing and the blood were in the living room, the detectives determined that the shooting had taken place there.
What's not clear to detectives is how Daytera ended up in the bedroom.
They couldn't determine whether she had crawled into the bedroom or somebody had helped her because she was wrapped in a blanket.
In the bathroom, they find a bloody towel.
A bloody towel indicates that someone did try to stop the bleed.
But was it Daytera or the mysterious man who made the first 911 call?
They don't know who this male was that placed this 911 call. They don't know whether it was a boyfriend, whether it was a neighbor. They don't know who this individual is.
Was it the shooter? Was it someone who just heard the gunshots and came in?
If it was the shooter, why did he call 911? And if it wasn't the shooter, why did he flee the scene?
Did he run away in a panic? Did he run after the shooter? Did he have anything to do with this? They didn't know.
In addition to the evidence found at the scene, detectives also take note of what they don't find.
Detectives never found her keys. They never found her cell phone.
Could have been a robbery gone wrong. Yeah, he didn't mean a shooter.
After going through the apartment, detectives talk to the manager of the complex.
They start asking that property manager, does she have a car? If she does have a car, where's it usually parked?
The property manager was able to confirm that she does have a vehicle.
She always parks in the same space.
Do you know where that is?
Right over there.
But the space is empty.
That car isn't here anymore.
The shooter probably took it. Do you have surveillance on the complex?
Yes, we do.
There are security cameras directly pointed in the direction of her apartment. So the property manager goes and gets all of that footage and then hands it over to police.
While the manager was retrieving the video and handing it over to police, detectives put out a be on the lookout alert for Daytera's car.
I need a bolo on Daytera Johnson's vehicle.
Then they expand their search for clues to the area outside her apartment, including a nearby dumpster.
They couldn't see much in the dumpster, just some garbage bags, nothing out of the ordinary.
But then something catches their eye. A duffel bag.
They said it was on top of everything in the dumpster.
Clearly, this duffel bag had just been dumped.
So detectives investigate further.
Inside the duffel bag, detectives found some men's clothing.
They also find ammunition, and that ammunition looks similar to the spent casing they found in Daytera's apartment.
Detectives take the bag as evidence and begin to canvass the residents of the apartment complex.
So police start interviewing some neighbors, and they start to talk to two women who live near Daytera's apartment.
There were two young women that remember hearing Daytera and a male arguing.
Yeah, they were like yelling at each other.
When was that?
It was around 1:30.
Those two women say that they heard arguing right before two gunshots go off.
Do you know who she was arguing with?
We don't really know her like that. We weren't all up in her business or anything.
But they say the voice did sound familiar.
They've heard that same voice coming from that apartment before.
It sounded like the same man's voice that she would always get into arguments with.
It was probably her boyfriend.
Neighbors of 18-year-old Daytera Johnson have just told detectives that they heard loud voices coming from her apartment moments before Daytera was shot.
Those neighbors say that Daytera and a gentleman was arguing, and after that they heard two bangs.
And this isn't the first argument they've heard in her apartment.
Yeah, they were like yelling at each other.
One particular neighbor told the detective that she used to hear a bunch of arguing and fighting, but the police was never called.
Was that the same voice you heard tonight?
It sounded the same.
And that was her boyfriend?
I think so.
The neighbors didn't know the boyfriend's name, so the next move for detectives was to reach out to Daytera's family for more information.
But before they can conduct interviews with the family,
Homicide.
a call from the hospital changes the nature of the investigation.
Daytera is rushed to the hospital. She undergoes surgery. Doctors do everything they can possibly do to save her life. But it's too late. She doesn't survive.
Daytera's family is also contacted and break down at the news.
When I heard the news, I went into shock.
My husband just barely could speak, and he was like, "She gone."
When detectives arrive at her parents' home, they find a family struggling with their grief.
I was asleep. My twin brother, he had Brandon in my room. He was like, "She gone." I hear a lot of commotion in the front room.
My dad, he was in the living room, and police is in there. He was just crying nonstop.
But Daytera's parents are determined to see justice done.
Is it possible we could ask you a few questions to find out who did this?
Of course. Whatever we can do to help.
The first thing they tell detectives is that they can't imagine anyone wanting to hurt Daytera.
She's loved by everybody.
Is it possible that she might be involved in something that is dangerous?
Maybe something she didn't tell you about.
No, we were very close.
Detectives want to know, was Daytera involved in anything, gang activity, drugs?
Due to the forced entry, this possibly could be a drug deal gone bad or even some kind of gang retaliation.
But Daytera's family is adamant that she wasn't mixed up in anything like that.
Is anyone that she had problems with, disagreements with?
Her boyfriend, Anthony York.
They knew that they fought a lot, but she didn't seem scared. It was just more she was annoyed when they fought.
She would just be like, we argue, or we got in an argument. It's just like how you vent to your sister.
When they got in arguments, did it ever turn physical?
Honestly, we don't know.
Daytera didn't mention Anthony a lot.
The family had only encountered Anthony a handful of times.
It was kind of strange. We never knew who he was, what he was about.
I knew a lot of people surrounded by him. Like, I grew up with his mom and his dad. And I met him one time, but didn't personally know him.
And while the impression he made wasn't alarming, it wasn't reassuring either.
The first time we met him, the interaction was kind of weird. He didn't introduce himself. He didn't say that I'm Daytera's boyfriend.
He was just standoffish. He really wouldn't look at us too much.
Hoping to learn more, detectives return to the station and file requests for her social media and phone records.
Social media is such a huge aid in helping an investigation. These days, everybody posts everything on their social media.
While waiting for a response to the requests, detectives review the security camera video from Daytera's apartment complex.
They get an opportunity to look at the surveillance video, and that surveillance video tells a lot.
Yeah, that looks like her car.
Here we go.
They can tell that it's a young black man and he's carrying a duffel bag.
He goes and he dumps the duffel bag in the dumpster.
You see him go back inside the apartment, then come out and get inside the car and pull away.
That's gotta be the shooter.
That could be anybody.
With the darkness, the poor quality of the video, and the fact that the man had on heavy clothes because it was winter, it was almost impossible to identify him.
Could it be Anthony York? There may be an easy way to find out.
Detectives retrieved the duffel bag that had been collected as evidence from the dumpster.
They go through the duffel bag again.
And under closer examination, detectives find something.
The detectives found a bond warrant.
This is huge for the investigation. This is the break they needed.
There it is. Anthony York.
After finding a bail bond warrant bearing the name of Daytara Johnson's boyfriend, Anthony York, detectives are now convinced he's the person responsible for her death.
Here we go.
Video from a security camera showed only one person entering and leaving Daytara's apartment, and only Anthony would have a motive to dispose of a duffel bag full of his clothes.
But is Anthony York capable of murder?
Daytara's family didn't know much about him, so detectives started digging into his background.
And what they find is alarming.
Auto theft, resisting arrest, and criminal recklessness. And not one, but 2 outstanding warrants.
This is a guy that is basically running from the law.
Armed with these outstanding warrants, detectives rush to the address on file for Anthony York.
A man answers the door. He identifies himself as Anthony's brother, Dominic.
He tells the detectives that Anthony isn't there.
Do you know where I can find him?
I don't know. I don't keep track of him.
Dominic states that he didn't have any idea of where he was or when he would return.
Do you know what this is about?
I heard about that girl that got killed. I know you've been dating her.
Do you know where Anthony was last night?
Nah, man. I don't know anything about it.
Detectives asked Dominic to get in touch with them if he heard from Anthony, but they didn't really have any confidence that he would.
When they return to the station, the detectives start reviewing the social media accounts they've been given access to. But Daytara's online presence is more complex than anticipated.
Daytara had a social media account that basically anyone could see, but she also had a separate account that was only for her close friends. On that account, she would post things about problems in her relationship, like fighting and Anthony's jealousy.
It was kind of like little petty stuff that would turn bigger because of the person he was.
She started coming out and saying they had a toxic relationship. Like they'd be arguing and fighting a lot.
She specifically talked about how she had been on and off in her relationship with Anthony York.
Hey, come over here.
And as detectives dig deeper, they find things that are very disturbing.
Daytara had actually sent this audio clip to a friend stating that Anthony had threatened her with a gun.
I told him to leave because we just couldn't stop fighting and I needed a minute. And that's like when he pulled out a gun and said that he wasn't going anywhere. It was crazy. He calmed down after that, but I legit was like scared for a second. He was acting insane.
And that isn't even the most alarming thing detectives find.
Look at the dates on the posts.
That's weird.
Someone after the shooting had been posting on her social media.
One post said, "I'm in heaven now," and another one promoting a fundraiser to raise money for funeral costs.
Daytara's family is shocked when detectives check to see if they've been posting on Daytara's accounts.
They didn't know anything about this.
Concluding that Anthony is likely behind the posts, detectives' next move is to review the data submitted by Daytara's cell phone provider.
The detectives could see that there were 2 calls made to 911. But there were also phone calls made to another number before those 2 calls were made to 911.
The number belongs to Anthony York's mother.
Within an 8-minute time period, someone had called Anthony's mother several times.
None of the calls were answered.
Detectives wondered if Anthony had panicked after shooting Daytera and then tried to call his mother before he fled the scene.
Before they can put a trace on the phone, detectives get word that Daytera's car has been found.
I was actively on social media posting her car because I'm like, whoever killed her has her car.
Soon afterwards, someone contacted Daytera's mother, and sure enough, detectives go and they find Daytera's car parked about 5 miles away from her apartment.
Check this out.
When detectives search the car, they find a driver's license. But it's not Daytera's.
The name on the driver's license was Dominic York. Somehow, the driver's license of Anthony's brother had ended up in Daytera's car.
Now the detectives don't know who committed this crime.
Did Anthony call his brother for help when he couldn't reach his mother?
Oh, call him. Get him down to the station.
Well, that's not gonna happen.
Dominic is already in custody.
They find out that he's actually in jail for unrelated charges.
But for the detectives, it's an opportunity.
Can you believe it?
They say, you know what? Why don't we start to just listen to some of his phone calls that he's making from the jail?
It doesn't take long for the strategy to pay off.
One call in particular was interesting.
Dominic called a woman named Felicia Hurley.
Detectives run a background check on this Felicia Hurley and learn that she actually resides in Phoenix, Arizona.
So why is Dominic calling her?
That's weird.
What do you mean?
In the phone call, Dominic is giving Felicia some advice.
It was obvious that he knew that their conversation was not private.
He was talking in code.
Tell him to lay low. It's hot.
Detectives realized he was sending a message to Anthony.
Listening to jailhouse phone calls between Dominic York and a woman named Felicia Hurley, detectives in Indianapolis believe they have a lead on Dominic's brother, Anthony, the main suspect in the murder of 18-year-old Daytera Johnson.
We thought he was still in the city, that people were just hiding him out. I had no idea he made it all the way to Phoenix.
Detectives then contacted law enforcement in Phoenix, Arizona for them to work together and see if they could locate Anthony.
3 weeks after the murder, investigators fly from Indianapolis to Phoenix.
They have to find Anthony and they have to find Felicia. So they get to Phoenix and they actually pull Felicia over during a traffic stop. So now they have her in custody and they can start asking some questions.
You know Anthony York?
I do, yeah.
She's friends with Anthony through Dominic, and Anthony had actually been staying with her.
But she insists she initially didn't know he was on the run from the law.
She's alleging that she didn't know anything about any outstanding crime, any warrants.
She says that Anthony came to Phoenix to get out of Indianapolis because a big winter storm was coming.
Did he ever tell you why he was really here?
No, but I got a little curious after talking with Dominic, and he told me to tell Anthony to lay low.
So, Felicia went to a court records website.
She found that he had 2 outstanding warrants.
But that's not all.
It's when she saw social media that she knew, wait a minute, this guy's on the run for murder.
What did you do when you found out?
I didn't do anything.
She was too afraid to say anything to Anthony.
She didn't want Anthony to do anything to her.
Did he threaten you?
No, he didn't have to.
Felicia says she just doesn't feel safe with Anthony around.
Let's go.
The detectives pass the information on to local law enforcement, who immediately head to Felicia's apartment.
Police! Freeze!
And on the patio, there's Anthony York.
Hands up. Turn around. Put your hands on the back of your head.
He is arrested without incident.
On February 10th, the investigators sit down with Anthony in a Phoenix interview room.
You know why you were picked up?
I got a couple of old warrants.
And a new one for murder.
Anthony says he's not surprised.
Anthony admits that he was in DeTerra's apartment the night of the shooting, but he says he has nothing to do with it.
You want to tell us what happened?
I'm gonna tell you, but man, I still can't even believe it myself.
According to Anthony, it was a bad night from the start.
Anthony said that he and DeTerra were broken up, that they had decided to go their separate ways.
What was the problem?
A lot of things, man.
Anthony says they've been arguing a lot.
He was pretty convinced that she was seeing another man.
He did not know who that other person was.
Why'd you go over there if you had broken up?
I went over to get my stuff.
He was only there to retrieve some of his items from that apartment.
He did admit to the fact that they had had an argument.
This is your fault, not mine. You're the one always messing around.
I don't care anymore, whatever.
Anthony says he just wanted to get his things.
He stepped outside to go and throw something in the dumpster, some things that he had in her apartment that he no longer needed.
That's when it happened, man.
What happened?
He stated that when he went to the dumpster that someone went into her apartment.
He said he didn't know who it was.
He says an unknown man walked into DeTerra's apartment and shot her.
Anthony York has just told Indianapolis detectives that his girlfriend, 18-year-old DeTerra Johnson, was killed by a mysterious man who slipped into her apartment.
It was a crazy night.
Anthony told police that him and DeTerra were breaking up and that he had gone over to her apartment to get some things that he had left there.
He admits they argued while he was there, but says it wasn't anything serious.
Anthony tells police this was just a breakup. It wasn't the biggest deal, but he went to go grab some of his clothes and put it in his duffel bag.
I decided I didn't need them, so I just threw them in the dumpster.
You threw away a duffel bag?
Yeah, I ain't need it.
He says that while he was out by the dumpster, he heard 2 gunshots.
He says that he heard the shots, turned around, and saw a man running out of DeTerra's apartment.
Did you recognize him?
No.
What did he look like?
I don't know.
He says, I don't know, he was wearing a mask.
Alarmed, Anthony rushed back into the apartment.
What happened? What happened?
He went back into that apartment and seen that his girlfriend was shot.
He says he called 911, but he didn't know DeTerra's address. So he was trying to figure it out so he can tell dispatch. And that's when DeTerra got the phone and asked for help.
But detectives know that 911 wasn't the only number he'd called using her phone.
Phone calls were made to Anthony's mom.
Why did you call your mother before you called 911?
Man, I didn't know what to do.
He said he called his mom because he was in a panic and he didn't know what else to do. And so he called 911 and then he took off.
Why did you leave?
Because I knew y'all would sit here and try to pin this on me.
Why did you take her phone? DeTerra's phone.
I just picked it up. I don't know. It was a crazy situation.
He said when he realized he had her phone, he threw the phone out of the window. He said he didn't know where.
The detectives have heard enough.
At that point, they let him know that they have video surveillance and there is no one else that could have been there.
You want to explain that?
I'm done. Give me a lawyer.
Cuff him. Let's get him out of here.
Get up.
They booked him on murder charges and they extradited him back to Indiana.
After his charge, it made me feel more at peace of the situation. He got what came to him.
With Anthony in custody, police and prosecutors assemble the case that they'll take to trial.
There's a lot of circumstantial evidence in this case.
And the evidence proved that Anthony was lying about what happened.
Nobody was on the videotape in the apartments besides him, so that story was bogus.
For trial, the DA's office put together their own story, one they believed they could prove was true.
DeTerra was a young woman. She's living on her own for the first time. She doesn't really know how to get out of this relationship with this guy.
On January 16th, the tension in the relationship boiled over.
The prosecutors suspect that Anthony got upset over something. DeTerra had posted on her social media accusing him of cheating.
You don't put my name out there.
If you're afraid of getting called out, don't do what you did.
Prosecutors believe that DeTerra and Anthony got into this big blowout argument.
At some point, DeTerra locked Anthony out of the apartment.
Get out.
Let me in. Open the door.
But a locked door couldn't stop Anthony.
Anthony forced his way back inside the apartment.
You don't shut me out.
Stay away from me. Anthony.
Whether he meant to shoot her or not, they still don't know. And they actually do believe that at first he tried to help her.
You're okay, you're okay?
There was some panic in him.
Anthony called his mother first because he really did not want to call 911.
But when he couldn't get his mother, he made the call.
He did call 911 and he hung up with them quickly.
Then he started getting rid of evidence that he'd been there.
He decided to grab that duffel bag, dispose of any evidence that may have shown that he was in that apartment.
While he was doing that, DeTerra managed to pick up her phone.
DeTerra was able to make that phone call to 911, and then he came back. He took that phone, he got her keys, and he fled the scene.
Looking ahead to the trial, the prosecutor is confident, and Anthony York isn't.
Anthony knew that if this case went to trial, chances are that he would be convicted of murder. So he takes a plea deal and he pleads guilty to voluntary manslaughter.
Prosecutors know that it's better to offer a plea deal and know that the person is going to receive some time than take your chances with a jury.
Anthony is sentenced to 30 years in prison with an option for his sentence to be modified after he served 17 years.
To DeTerra's friends, the sentence isn't nearly enough.
It makes my skin crawl, honestly. You took someone's life, someone who you were supposed to love.
And it means DeTerra's family will never know the full truth.
We didn't get any explanation on what happened because he signed a plea deal. So we didn't go to trial and he didn't explain.
And they will never forget what they lost on that cold winter night.
DeTerra, I'm still thinking about you every day.
She had a beautiful soul. She loved everybody. She was beautiful, a beautiful person.
She was definitely a sweetheart, but she was a big sister at heart. She never let nobody play with us. I always respect that.
I miss my daughter. I wish that these young people would go seek help. Don't put your family in a situation that we're in, because we'll never be the same.
Sometimes, love leads you to a crossroads.
He was handsome and exciting. There was nothing that she wouldn't do for him.
But choosing one path means leaving another behind.
Anytime you put someone else above you, you take away parts of you, which will lead you to do anything.
We had a massive manhunt within the city limits.
I just remember collapsing down at her feet and saying, what? And her repeating it over and over, he didn't make it, he didn't make it.
Once you head down a dark road, there's no turning back.
She was never going to give him up, and that was clear.
This was just a young lady who got involved with the wrong guy.
May 2015, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. A hidden southern gem, Hattiesburg is known as the hub city.
It's an hour and a half from Jackson, Mississippi, which is the capital. It's an hour and a half from Mobile, Alabama, New Orleans, the Gulf Coast, where there's casinos. It's smack dab in the middle of everything.
But on Saturday, May 9th, 2015, the day before Mother's Day, the peace of this city is shattered.
Around 7:30 p.m., Hattiesburg Dispatch received an emergency call from one of their officers, Officer Tate.
Officer Tate was able to get to his radio and call dispatch for help.
Into the radio, he whispers that he and another officer, Officer Dean, have both been shot. Officers Benjamin Dean and LaCorey Tate were both raised in Mississippi by loving families. Benjamin Joseph Dean, known to those close to him as BJ, was born July 8, 1980, and grew up with two older siblings.
We were the typical American family with 3 kids. I'm the oldest. Josh was 5 years younger than me, and BJ was 7 years younger than me.
Benjamin was the happiest baby that a person could have raised. He was full of laughter. He was full of joy.
He was always playing jokes. We always picked on each other. We were always outside, playing outside. He loved to hunt, loved to fish, anything outdoors.
Family and loyalty were extremely important to BJ, who met his wife in grade school and stayed committed to her from the start.
Can't remember a time where they were ever apart at all, even back to school. They got married right out of high school.
BJ and Robin soon started the family they'd always dreamed of and settled in Hattiesburg. In 2002, their daughter Mila was born, shortly followed by their son, Walker.
Mila, the firstborn of BJ's, her daddy was everything in the world to her. Her waking up and going to bed, it was just, she was a daddy's girl from the time she was born.
To support his family, BJ joined the Hattiesburg Fire Department.
As a first responder, he noticed that there were certain things that he really couldn't help with.
He noticed that the police officers were able to help people in ways that he was not. So he wanted to give that a try, and he joined the police academy.
In 1999, he officially became Officer Dean, graduating from the police academy with high marks.
Officer Dean was an amazing officer. I never saw him without a smile on his face. I used to call him Smiley. He was the country's swaggiest officer you could ever meet. Just an amazing person.
After 5 years on the force, Officer Dean was also willing to share his knowledge with the new recruits. Fresh out of the academy and barely into his 20s, LaCorey Tate had dreamed of wearing the badge his entire life.
My son's childhood dream was to become a police officer. Even as a child growing up, he loved police cars. We always had to get him a police car for Christmas. He would turn the siren on and it would echo all through the house.
He had a wonderful smile that I thought was very special, his smile and his small giggle. He absolutely loved people and was forgiving. I've never met anybody who didn't like him.
He was very humble. He was a gentle giant, very protective.
After graduating high school in 2011, LaCorey attended community college and became a certified auto technician. But just a year later, his career took an unexpected turn.
He was the manager at one of the automotive parts stores. And so he saw one day some deputies come in who asked him for some help. And as he helped them, he asked questions. And he, told me that he wanted to go to the academy. This was totally his idea.
Be careful. Be aware of your surroundings.
But now, 25-year-old Officer LaCorey Tate and 36-year-old Officer Benjamin Dean have both been shot. Their fellow officers, along with paramedics, race to the scene.
Obviously, that is not a call that you want to receive. All boots were on the ground in the city of Hattiesburg. It was an overwhelming response from local law enforcement.
When first responders arrive, the officers are both unresponsive, and their guns look untouched.
They had both been shot, and they didn't have time to defend themselves. They appeared to be ambushed. Officer Dean had been shot in the face, close range.
Officer Dean was killed immediately, and I'm glad he did not suffer, but the fact that he was point-blank executed was horrific.
Officer Tate had a bullet wound in his back, but he was still alive. Paramedics raced him to the hospital and hope that it's not too late.
There's no sign of the shooter, but one thing does stand out.
They immediately noticed that Officer Dean's patrol car is missing.
A massive manhunt ensues.
Tensions were high in our community. People were in fear.
On May 9th, 2015, police in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, are on the scene of a shooting that took the life of their fellow officer, 36-year-old Benjamin Dean, and critically injured another, 25-year-old officer LaCorey Tate. Officer Dean's family heads to the hospital and learns the devastating news.
My mother was crying hysterically, and there were people all up and down the hallways. And she just looked at me and said, "He didn't make it." And I just remember collapsing down at her feet and saying, What? And her repeating it over and over, "He didn't make it. He didn't make it."
It says in the Bible that blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. And he was called, and he completed his call.
With a killer on the run in Officer Dean's patrol car, it's all hands on deck to track them down.
We had law enforcement from all different agencies that came in to assist us. We had state and federal and local agencies.
Over 100 officers from 10 agencies are involved in the manhunt.
Tensions were high in our community. People were in fear. We were in shock because this was not something that we're used to dealing with.
The scene is chaos, but investigators are able to locate several .40 caliber shell casings.
They also noticed that Officer Tate's vehicle had a bullet hole in the hood.
At the station, law enforcement go over all radio communication from the two officers.
Officer Dean that night conducted a traffic stop. He noticed that there was a vehicle that committed a traffic violation.
Through radio traffic, the investigators learned that approximately at 7:30 p.m., Officer Dean saw a blue car on 4th Street, signaled to turn, but he noticed that it kept straight.
After pulling over the vehicle, Dean logged the license plate and then approached the car to speak with the driver.
He asked for, name, information, driver's license, registration, insurance, typical information that one would ask on a traffic stop.
The driver told him she was on her way to work, and she gave him a couple generic IDs.
But he went back to dispatch to run that information. The driver of that vehicle was Joni Calloway. Her license was no longer valid, and he was going to go back and do a further investigation in this case.
He then noticed the passenger in the vehicle moving around, and this made him uncomfortable.
He called for backup. Officer Tate then responded.
That's the last communication from either of them, until moments later, when Officer Tate called in that they both had been shot. Investigators run the plates of the vehicle that Officer Dean logged and discover the car is registered to the same person, 22-year-old Joni Calloway. Joni Calloway was born in Kenner, Louisiana, and raised in Oak Grove.
Growing up, Joni had a wonderful relationship with her family, especially her father. Being so close to her family made her want a family of her own.
After graduating high school, Joni worked at a manufacturing plant to support herself.
So one day at work, Joni met a man that was retired from the armed services, and they soon decided to get married.
In 2011, at just 18 years old, Joni gave birth to a baby boy.
Her son was everything to her, and she loved being a mom more than anything.
Then one day, while hanging out with friends, she met a man who changed her whole trajectory.
When she was driving around with her friends, they pick up another acquaintance named Marvin Banks. Turns out Joni and Marvin have a lot in common and immediately hit it off.
By December 2014, Joni and Marvin were having a full-blown affair. She visited him several times a week.
He brought excitement and adventure into her life that she had also been lacking.
But now, Joni Calloway is the only name investigators have connected to the double shooting of two of their officers. And they're about to come face to face with her.
She seemed emotional and was crying.
May 9th, 2015, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. It's been just an hour since Hattiesburg police officer Benjamin Dean was murdered and Officer LaCorey Tate seriously wounded.
Officer Dean attempted to make a traffic stop. It was a routine traffic stop that went horribly wrong, and the two were shot.
Law enforcement has identified the driver as 22-year-old Joni Calloway. While multiple patrol units scour the area in search of the shooter, police get another lead.
Another 911 call was received from a woman named Natalie Puck. Natalie was actually attending a festival that was not far from the scene of the crime. Natalie tells 911 that a woman had just come up to her and that the woman seemed jittery and very nervous.
She told Natalie that she gave someone a ride and he just suddenly shot a couple of police officers. She alleges that she had no idea that he was going to do that. She seemed emotional and was crying.
And Natalie listens to her tell this elaborate story. So Natalie is really the person who talks to 911.
Natalie told her that she was going to have to call police, and the woman replied yes, and an ambulance.
Law enforcement quickly head to the location and identify the woman as Joni Calloway. They also find her car abandoned in a nearby parking lot.
So Joni Calloway was actually transported back to the Hattiesburg Police Department, where we prepared to interview her.
Around 9 p.m., Lieutenant Myers sits down with Joni.
I just wanted to feel of who she was. Who was Joni Calloway? You know, was she someone that was an innocent bystander? Was she someone just dragged into this? Or was she actively involved in this case? My initial interaction with Ms. Calloway was that she was withholding some information. She knew a lot more than what she was saying.
When asked about who shot the officers, Joni claims she doesn't know.
This guy's in your car, and he committed this murder while he was in your car. How do you not know him?
She adamantly denied knowing who this person was. And she started out saying that he was someone that she just saw at the gas station. He asked for a ride. Then she admitted to knowing him.
She told officers that she just knew him because she used to buy drugs off of him, marijuana, and that he just asked for a ride. He said, "Hey, will you give me a ride to the convenience store nearby on Main Street?" And so she said, "Sure."
She says, then they got pulled over by the police.
She had no idea that he had a firearm on him, and that she had no idea that he was going to do this. And she didn't know his name. She didn't know where he lived. She clearly was protecting him.
After some time, she admitted only knowing him as his nickname, Cuz.
She gradually gave out bits and pieces to where she acknowledged knowing him a little bit more and more and more.
Then, investigators get bad news from the hospital.
Officer Tate succumbed to his gunshot wound at the hospital.
They kicked everything up into a high gear. So yeah, we're not playing any games now.
Lieutenant Myers turns up the heat on Joni.
Miss Calloway had her 4-year-old child. We need to worry about getting you home to your 4-year-old, because if not, you're gonna go away for a long time. Somebody else is gonna be raising your baby. I was just that honest with her. But she consistently and continuously lied.
Nothing seems to make Joni crack. And the interview comes to a close.
She spent about 5 hours lying to protect that individual, and all the while we were trying to locate him.
Meanwhile, Officer Tate's family and the entire department mourn the loss of the young recruit.
Once I found out, of course I still got hope. This is a mistake. They're gonna bring him back to life in the hospital. You're doing anything for hope. That was terrible for me.
The news of these two officers losing their lives hit everyone pretty hard. Hattiesburg Police Department had not lost an officer in 30 years.
At 10 p.m. that evening, the Hattiesburg Police Department reaches out to the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation.
The Mississippi Bureau of Investigations came in and it took over the investigation for us.
Meanwhile, Officers scouring the area make a discovery that will supercharge the investigation.
They find Officer Dean's police car actually a few blocks from the scene, parked in a dead end.
And that's where we're able to obtain the dash cam video.
May 9th, 2015, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Just 3 hours after 2 Hattiesburg police officers were shot and killed during a routine traffic stop, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation has taken over the case.
Joni Calloway, the driver, had already been found and interviewed, but she refused to say who was in the car with her.
Luckily, they've just found Officer Dean's stolen patrol car.
We were able to locate the vehicle a quarter of a mile from the scene near railroad tracks, abandoned.
Finding the car, with the dash cam intact, is a significant turning point in the case.
When Officer Dean actually pulled over the blue car, his dash camera automatically turned on. Investigators were shocked at what they found.
We were able to see exactly how the crime occurred.
They see Officer Dean exit the vehicle and walk to the driver's side of the blue car and speak with Joni. They see a passenger in the car.
Then, Officer Dean returns to his patrol car to check the identification that Joni gave him.
In the video, investigators can see that both the female and male passenger were moving around quite a bit. Calloway's front passenger was putting something under his seats. This is what made Officer Dean call for assistance.
The footage shows Officer Tate arrive on the scene a few minutes later. The 2 men approach Joni's vehicle together.
Officer Dean asks her to step out of the vehicle. He talks to her.
Officer Tate goes to the passenger side of the vehicle.
He goes around to the other side and asks the front passenger to step outside of the vehicle. He eventually steps outside of the car with his hands up, while Officer Tate asks him routine questions.
But then, the man pivots back to the car and grabs something from the seat. The next thing investigators see on the footage is disturbing.
He shot Officer Dean in the face. Officer Dean was point-blank executed at the scene. So it was horrific that law enforcement had to watch one of their very own be murdered in such a gruesome way. Joni Calloway was standing outside of the vehicle when the shots were fired. She then gets back in her car, puts the car in drive, but holds the parking brake, applies the parking brake. For several seconds, yells, "Marvin, get in the car." So she waited for him. The perpetrator did not get back in the car because there was another officer still on scene, and that was Officer LaCorey Tate. And you hear shots fired. Joni then drives into the direction of downtown Hattiesburg.
Even though Officer Tate was bleeding out on the ground, he still managed to make one final call over his radio.
He was about 1 year out of the academy, a good officer, and of course, there's nothing that could have prepared him for an incident like this.
Despite the reality the video holds, it is a major asset to the investigation.
Not only do police have footage of the murder, they also potentially have the shooter's name, straight from the mouth of Joni Calloway.
She says his name. She was screaming for him to get in the car so she could help drive him away after committing this murder. She said his name, Marvin.
On the morning of May 10th, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigations takes another crack at interviewing Joni Calloway.
We need a name, right? It's high alert in the city of Hattiesburg because this guy's armed and dangerous and he will stop at nothing.
But Joni insists that she only knows him as Cuz.
She won't give specifics. She's evasive. So everyone has a right to remain silent, right? You don't have to talk to law enforcement. But if you do, you can't lie. And she did that for hours. She was never going to give him up, and that was clear.
With the first name Marvin and his image on video, it doesn't take police long to identify him on their own.
Then they showed that to individuals in the law enforcement community, and some of them recognized him because he was on probation, was a convicted felon, and they were able to say, yes, that's Marvin Banks.
Mr. Banks had several prior arrests for drug infractions and gang involvement, so he was known to the police department.
It was pretty clear that he was a violent criminal. It wasn't a question of when Marvin was going to be violent. It was just to what extent.
Investigators are able to track down one of his neighbors, who also happens to be his best friend, Timothy Miller.
Timothy says that he has known Marvin since 1995. He grew up right across the street from him in Hattiesburg.
And Timothy says Joni Calloway knows him too, very well.
Timothy claims that the two of them are in a relationship and have been dating for about 6 months.
This entire time, she knew exactly who Marvin Banks was. She knew where he lived, she knew his mom, she knew his friends, and she was not just giving him a ride to one of the local convenience stores. She was in an ongoing affair with this man.
Investigators are able to reach one of Marvin's neighbors after learning that Joni Calloway has been lying to police to protect her lover. MBI finally gets the tip they've been waiting for.
So there was a call that came in where he was seen possibly at a local establishment, a hotel.
Multiple law enforcement agencies, including a SWAT team, charged the motel, hoping to finally take down Marvin Banks.
And they know that all of their lives are on the line by trying to apprehend him.
2015, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Police get a tip on the whereabouts of suspected cop killer Marvin Banks.
A clerk at a local motel actually says that she saw the news coverage of the story and a photo of Banks. She said that he rented a room at the motel earlier and that he was actually still there now.
Units responded, the SWAT team was there, and they know that all of their lives are on the line by trying to apprehend him. So clearly, right, they're probably a little bit in fear of what could go down during that takedown.
Once the area is secured, the SWAT team gets the go-ahead.
They storm the room where Marvin is supposedly staying, and luckily, he doesn't put up a fight. With the assistance of MBI, Mississippi Bureau of Investigations, Marvin Banks, he was apprehended and brought in.
At the police station, Banks refuses to talk.
He asked investigators for a lawyer, and that was the end of his interrogation.
We had him, and he knows we had him. There was no getting away from that.
Marvin Banks is charged with 2 counts of capital murder, 1 count of being a felon in possession of a firearm, and grand theft.
Not only was Marvin Banks arrested, we also arrested Curtis Banks, which is his brother, and several other of his family members. They were arrested for hindering apprehension.
Curtis is charged with 2 counts of accessory after the fact of capital murder.
News of the arrests spread like wildfire.
I was so glad that they found these people and started rounding them up the same night. And I was so thankful for that because I was praying that this wouldn't be a case where these people got away.
It gave us relief knowing that those people were off the streets and hopefully couldn't do more harm.
With Banks in custody, MBI investigators focus their attention back on Joni. And she finally gives in.
She then admitted to knowing Marvin Banks, and she did identify him as the shooter.
She said that she was seeing him and that his name was not Cuz, and she didn't just give him a ride. She had been with him all day. She had told them that Marvin got the gun from underneath the seat and said that he wasn't about to go back and that he was going to basically kill this officer.
She says she told him to put away the gun and not do anything rash, but he refused.
Now, in that moment, did Joni Calloway alert anyone? Did she do anything to stop it? No, she didn't.
After Joni's statement, it seems clear why Marvin took the lives of the two officers.
He made a decision that in no shape or form was he going back to prison that evening. He absolutely made this decision to kill our officers.
Police charged Joni with 2 counts of capital murder.
Joni and her boyfriend can both receive the death penalty.
But before Marvin faces a death penalty in court, life deals him another hand.
In December 2016, Marvin Banks died from potential drug abuse.
We know that from Marvin Banks's family and his history that he abused drugs daily. A medical examiner's office did find that he died of heart complications, most likely due to chronic and long-standing drug abuse.
8 months after Marvin's death, his brother, Curtis Banks, pleads guilty.
In August of 2016, Curtis Banks pleads guilty to accessory after the fact of capital murder. He is sentenced to 20 years in prison. He also pleads guilty to a substance charge and receives 5 years.
Other individuals that were involved in this, that assisted him or had, participated in the crime, maybe sold a stolen firearm to him. These individuals all pled and were prosecuted. The one person who would not plead guilty, the one person who wanted a trial, who professed her innocence, was Joni Calloway.
Women don't value themselves enough. They put their spouse, their boyfriend, their girlfriend, whoever, above themselves. And they don't think of themselves highly enough to say no or think about consequences of their actions. I think if she would have stopped and thought about that, it would have turned out another way.
Spring 2017, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. After Marvin Banks died in prison before he could stand trial for the murders of 2 remarkable police officers, everyone who aided him pleads guilty to their charges, except one, Joni Calloway.
Joni refused to admit any guilt and kept professing her innocence.
In May 2017, after a change of venue, 24-year-old Joni Calloway goes to trial in Oxford, Mississippi. Joni's charges are downgraded to attempted accessory after the fact of capital murder and hindering prosecution in the first degree.
From a prosecution standpoint, in our hearts, a lot of us feel like Joni Calloway should have been charged with capital murder. But here's the thing, you can't charge someone unless you have evidence. That evidence has to support a verdict beyond every reasonable doubt.
Prosecutors lay out their case against Joni. They show the jury the dashcam video of her trying to help Marvin escape after shooting Officer Dean and Officer Tate.
Joni, wanting to protect her boyfriend, was willing to help him as he murdered 2 officers in cold blood.
She was definitely a part of this. She saw it go down. She did nothing to stop it.
They also show interrogation footage of Joni lying and buying him more time to escape authorities.
She absolutely knew who he was. She was engaged in a very long affair with him.
Yet, despite the evidence, Joni's defense combats the prosecution and paints her relationship with Marvin in a different light.
This was just a young lady who got involved with the wrong guy.
They say when Marvin started shooting, Joni did the only thing she could think of.
Her actions were intended to try to get him to stop. She had courage to try to get a man with a gun shooting 2 police officers to stop. She tried to interrupt his rampage.
Joni's defense says her fear prevented her from speaking up during her interrogation.
It seems somewhat short-sighted to charge someone with hindering prosecution about identifying a man who she just saw murder 2 police officers. I think you can explain away a lot of her bad decisions both before the incident and after the incident with fear.
I find that hard to believe because she saw what kind of monster he was. She invited him into the car and tried to help him get away. She does everything she can to lie and protect him.
Joni chooses not to take the stand in her own defense. And on May 7th, the jury returns with their verdict.
And they did not deliberate long. They returned a verdict of guilty on both counts.
Joni Calloway was sentenced to 20 years for accessory after the fact of capital murder and 5 years for hindering apprehension.
For 2 outstanding officers and incredible people, their sacrifice will never be forgotten.
It really affected our city. Every day we put this uniform on, we take a chance of not making it home.
These 2 amazing police officers, they showed up for work that day. They showed up for work. They were really about protecting and serving their communities. They should still be here today. It's heartbreaking.
I would tell him all the time, there's people out there who will take your life for just the simple reason that you wear this uniform. And he was not afraid of dying. I think I owe it to him to never forget him.
I want people to know that my brother was a great man. He was a great friend, a good husband, and a good father. And he cared for his community. And we need more people in the world like him.
The paths we choose in life can have lasting effects. Joni Calloway went from a young married woman with a little boy she adored to a convicted felon sitting in prison. All because of her love for a man.
Anytime you put someone else above you, you take away parts of you, which will lead you to do anything. Joni Calloway put the needs of Marvin Banks above her family, her child, and which caused her to disregard the lives of Officer Dean and Tate, which led her to have 25 years in the state penitentiary.
Be careful where your heart wanders, for love's wrong turn can lead you into shadows you never intended to chase. One misstep, and the warmth of affection can turn to a cold, unyielding darkness. Some paths are meant to be left behind. When you're young, it's easy to give your heart away.
When she met him, she fell head over heels in love.
But promises of a bright future can be blinding like the sun.
Two of them had handguns, one had a shotgun.
I was begging for our life. Oh my God.
This is not the type of incident that happens every day.
When your vision finally comes into focus, how do you see through the irreparable damage?
That's what I keep telling you.
She just made a terrible mistake by getting involved with this guy.
I love him, so I feel like I have to protect him.
December 2nd, 2015, Fayetteville, Georgia. Just 3 weeks before Christmas, residents of this quaint Atlanta suburb have settled in for the night.
Fayette County is just south of Atlanta, about a 35-minute drive. It's an area of residential homes with wide open spaces.
It's also a nice area to raise families and just enjoy the quiet side of Atlanta area.
But just past midnight, the calm of Fayetteville is shattered.
A woman named Shirley Rodriguez calls 911 in a panic.
They came in here, 3 guys banged on the door. I went to open the door, and they were masked, and I don't know.
Okay, well, you said they banged on your door and they were wearing masks. What happened? Did they take something? Did they assault?
They came in, they took our TVs, phones. They didn't see mine. And he was pointing the gun at me. Are you her husband?
Are you hurt, ma'am?
Oh, God, no. Just get somebody here, please.
The operator keeps Shirley on the line as Fayette County deputies and investigators race to the home.
Ma'am, how long ago did this happen?
This happened 10 minutes ago. They're gone.
Did they have any weapons that you know of?
Yeah, they were pointing weapons at us.
How many people are there with you, ma'am?
Me, my husband, and my daughter, and they all was pointing guns at every one of us. And was begging for our life. Oh, my God.
I have help on the way to you, okay?
Fayette County sheriffs and deputies, when they arrived, there was no sign of the people that invaded the house.
There's an initial investigating officer, a uniformed sheriff at this point, and they go and they secure the scene. They talk to the victims, and they get their statements as quickly as they can.
Shirley Rodriguez, her husband John, and Shirley's 18-year-old daughter, Brittany Sharp, are all in shock.
The investigators could clearly see that the family was traumatized and upset about what happened to them.
They were very, very shaken and disturbed.
This is not the type of incident that happens every day. It was traumatic, and the investigators tried to calm them down.
As the family settles down, they slowly tell investigators what happened that night.
John tells the police that him and Shirley were in the bed and a knock happened at the door a little after midnight. So Shirley gets up and goes to the door.
She went to the window, looked out, saw 3 males standing on the porch. 2 of them was wearing a mask. One of the masks was a clown mask, and one of the males was concealing his face with a bandana.
The mother realized something was off, so she did not open the door. She went back and told her husband that there seemed to be somebody on the door trying to play a trick.
As soon as she went back to tell her husband, they kicked the door in.
The 3 men tear into the home.
2 of them had handguns, one had a shotgun. 2 gentlemen went into the room where the mother and father were and held them at gunpoint.
She said that all the males were shouting commands. It was like, give it up, give it to us, or we'll kill you. One of the guys asked Shirley, where are your cell phones?
And then the other gentleman who had the shotgun went into the daughter's bedroom. He told her to get up out of the bed.
Brittany said that male took her 2 cell phones and her purse.
John says after taking their cell phones, the intruders started ransacking the place.
John said one of the males fired a shot, and everything got quiet.
John and Shirley Rodriguez got married in April 2002. And Shirley brought her two daughters, Tiffany and Brittany, from her previous marriage into the relationship, making them a family of 4.
Together, they all lived in Stockbridge, Georgia until August 2013, and then they all decided to move to Fayetteville, Georgia. John got a new job as an operations manager at a local trucking company.
By 2013, Tiffany had moved out and started a family of her own. But 18-year-old Brittany was still living with Shirley and John.
Brittany was about to graduate from high school and had dreams of doing something after graduation that will allow her to take care of others.
While Brittany planned for the future, she had the full support of her family.
Even though John wasn't her biological father, she still called him dad, and he loved that and embraced that with open arms. Together, the Rodriguez family was one big happy family.
But the family's bliss is now overshadowed by a disturbing home invasion. The family tells investigators after they heard the gunshot, they were too afraid to move at first.
The family said when they thought the males had left, they came out of the bedroom.
They immediately noticed personal items all over the place and some electronics missing.
However, they missed Shirley's purse, which contained her phone, and she was able to call the police.
The family says they have no idea who the men were and never saw their faces.
Shirley said the males were at least 6 to 6'4" tall. She said all the males were wearing gloves.
Investigators have a feeling this might not be random.
Police believe that this may have been a personal hit.
December 2nd, 2015, Fayetteville, Georgia. Investigators have been called to the Rodriguez home after 3 masked men broke in and robbed the family at gunpoint.
Police really believe that this crime was personal and is probably some type of vendetta against his family.
Detectives immediately gather evidence, hoping it will lead to the identities of the 3 men.
Police, where they started processing the scene, there was damage of the door being broke in.
Investigators do find a spent 9mm casing, and it was by the front door where they saw a bullet hole.
In this situation, officers would be looking for anything that the suspect might have touched, anything that they discarded, anything that might have been left at the scene, anything that might lead them in the right direction.
Investigators asked the family for a detailed list of everything taken.
The robbers took 2 TVs, a speaker bar, and a PlayStation, a radio, several cell phones, and a lamp. They also took a trophy, a wallet with multiple credit cards, as well as Brittany's purse.
The total value is just over $3,000. Investigators tell Shirley and John to immediately cancel all their missing credit cards. Officers canvassing the area find their first potential lead.
One of the neighbors did have video surveillance running from their home.
While they download the footage, more leads start coming in.
Within an hour or so, they started getting other information. Mrs. Rodriguez got an alert that her card was trying to be used to buy a gift card on a site called gift.com.
Investigators contacted the website, and they was able to get the IP address of where the attempted purchase was made.
Then detectives discover that about 2:28 a.m., that someone tried to use John's credit cards at a large retail store. And that was about 20 minutes away from where the crime happened.
Investigators were able to pull the video surveillance from the retail establishment.
There were 2 girls on video, and they tried to use some of the debit cards from the invasion, and they were all declined.
Who were these women, and what connection do they have to the home invasion?
The video did reveal that when the girls left, they got into a red vehicle.
Even though the license plate was hard to read, investigators put out a bolo to other agencies to be on the lookout for the red vehicle.
They also alert the public that the suspects are armed and dangerous. At the same time, investigators review the footage from the Rodriguez's neighbor's camera.
The investigators are able to see that the red car from the store is the same red car that they see driving through the neighborhood of Shirley and John Rodriguez during the time of the robbery.
And then just before midnight, that red car came into the neighborhood, followed by a silver car.
The two cars drive past the home twice, but investigators still can't make out the license plates.
Investigators see that at 12:07 a.m., the two cars drive straight to the Rodriguez home. And then a few minutes later, they notice that the porch light comes on at the victim's house.
At this point, investigators can see several silhouettes on the front porch, entering and exiting the home.
At 12:14, both cars hightail it out of the neighborhood.
Investigators now believe there are at least 5 to 6 people involved in the home invasion robbery.
Investigators also show the video of the two young women using the stolen credit cards to the Rodriguez family.
They recognized one of the girls.
There was a feeling at the time that this occurred that there was a more reckless and disrespectful rise in crimes against people's homes. And in particular, we've had burglaries, but this, when you go into someone's home, when they're home, and threaten them and do what these people did, that was a line that the community would not tolerate.
Investigators in Fayetteville, Georgia are on the hunt for several people responsible for a home invasion that occurred on December 2nd, 2015 at the Rodriguez home.
Investigators have surveillance footage of a red vehicle then being followed by a silver car. Investigators also see the same red car at a retail store where two black women were seen trying to use the family's stolen credit cards.
When they show the retail store footage to the family, investigators luck out.
Brittany says she recognized
Áo cánh mọi người mặc lắm.
as 22-year-old Ariel Clark.
Born in 1993, Ariel Clark was raised in a close-knit family.
I grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia. It was just me, my brother, my mom, and my dad.
Ariel was a sweet girl, and everyone who met her loved her. She had a lot of friends.
I was very perky and happy and laughing and goofy all the time, but extremely serious about school at the same time.
Ariel knew exactly what she wanted to do with her life.
I wanted to be a nurse. My mom is a nurse. I spent a lot of time in the hospital because I have sickle cell. I just wanted to take care of other kids with sickle cell and give back to the nurses that helped me.
After Ariel graduated high school, her family relocated to Riverdale, Georgia, just 20 miles north of Fayette County.
I got into Georgia State and I majored in health science. I worked with my mom as a greeter at Piedmont Hospital and just volunteering a lot to see how it is working in a hospital as opposed to being a patient in it.
Ariel spent most of her time at school, the hospital, or with her cousin, Krista Clark Davis.
Me and Krista were always together, going out and hanging out and stuff.
In fact, it was Krista who introduced Ariel to someone special, 17-year-old Kedrick McGee.
We actually met because I called Krista and I needed a ride to go somewhere. So we just got in a car and me and Kedrick sat together and talked nonstop. He was tall and he had nice curly hair and was very charismatic and very, very, very intelligent. And we got along very fast.
He swept Ariel off her feet. She just fell in love, head over heels.
But Ariel's family wasn't so thrilled with how she spent her time, and she decided to make a bold move.
I was young and in love at the time, and I wanted to be out all times of the night, and we were not agreeing on that, so I left.
Ariel bounced around from place to place with her cousin. But one thing she was sure about was her boyfriend.
Kedrick was the first person I felt like I would marry and spend forever with.
After 2 years together, Ariel's future with Kedrick looked bright. But now, the 22-year-old has been identified as one of the women attempting to use the Rodriguez family's stolen credit cards. Brittany tells detectives that she recognizes Ariel because her friend used to date Ariel's boyfriend.
Once investigators find out Ariel's name, they search the database and they find out that she has no criminal history at all.
Investigators wonder if Ariel is also the one trying to buy gift cards online with the stolen credit cards.
Investigators learned the home address associated with the IP address, and that location is 20 minutes from the robbery and about 12 minutes from the retail store.
Just over a week after the home invasion, on December 10th, 2015, detectives head to the address and set up surveillance. Once there, they see something familiar.
In the driveway, they see the same red car that they seen at the robbery and at the store.
When the detectives run the plates of the red car, they find out the vehicle's owner, and it's Ariel Clark.
Then, investigators observe the men leaving the home. They get in the red car and drive off.
On December the 18th, at about 11 a.m., Clayton County Police and Fayette County Sheriff execute a search warrant at that address.
They pretty much recovered, I think, 90% of the items that were taken from the Rodriguez home.
They also find a bandana, which matches what the Rodriguez said one of the robbers wore over his face.
With that information, they obtained an arrest warrant for Ariel.
On January 6, 2016, investigators arrest Ariel at her job and bring her to the police station.
All right. Do you know the reason why you're here today?
One of the first things they asked me was about the credit cards. I found some cards a few weeks ago.
Okay, what kind of cards were they?
I can't even tell you. I just know that I found them.
Ariel states she found the cards in the parking lot of a retail store and tried to use them there.
Who was with you?
My cousin.
What's her name?
Krista.
The detective confirms the second woman in the retail store surveillance is Ariel's 17-year-old cousin, Krista Clark Davis. But he doesn't buy the rest of her story.
Ariel, I know you're lying. Yes, ma'am. I know where them cards came from. Because evidence doesn't lie. Now's your time to tell me what happened.
On January 6, 2016, the lead detective investigating the terrifying home invasion of the Rodriguez family is questioning 22-year-old Ariel Clark.
Ariel, I know you're lying. You know how I know? I got your car on video, because evidence doesn't lie. Now's your time. Now's your time to tell me what happened.
They explained to her that the family is scared, traumatized. They can't sleep at night in their own home due to what happened.
But Ariel still refuses to talk.
I want you to sit there and think about what happened.
At the time, it was very emotional. I guess it's still kind of emotional.
Why don't you just tell me the truth and be honest with me? Tell me what happened.
Ariel finally breaks her silence.
Whose idea was it?
I'm not sure.
Why that house?
I don't know.
I honestly don't know why they chose Brittany's house because of her best friend dating Kedrick. She knew who I was, but I had never seen her before or knew who she was.
Ariel reluctantly admits that she was there and names the 5 other people with her. Ariel says 20-year-old Eugene Gino Butler was driving her red car with another guy she didn't know.
What did he look like?
Just a light skin and some dreads.
She says she was in the silver car with her cousin Krista. The car belonged to another one of her cousins, 19-year-old Camry Glaspie, who was driving.
Ariel said she was in the backseat with her 19-year-old boyfriend, Kedrick McGee.
Ariel is hesitant to throw her boyfriend under the bus.
He got so much potential and I keep telling him.
Then she drops a bomb.
She says she feels bad because she loves Kedrick and she's about to have his baby.
How far along were you?
I think like 4 or 5 weeks.
I decided to speak with the detective because of me thinking about my child. I didn't want my kid to feel like I put something or someone else above them.
Ariel states that she was hanging out with Krista, Gino, and Kedrick that night, before they met up with Camry and the man she didn't know.
And then, who went to the door?
Kendrick, Gino, and the other person.
Ariel describes Kedrick as wearing a black mask, and she said that Gino was wearing a clown mask with red hair. She said that his friend was wearing a bandana around his face.
After everyone was in the house, Ariel admits that she and her cousin Krista went in.
And then, I was helping take stuff.
She says they put everything in Camry's car.
It was just a bunch of running and screaming, and my heart sank and I felt terrible. To be completely honest, I feel like I kind of blacked out for a moment.
Yeah, and it all happened so fast, and then next thing, everybody's running to the car.
So you ran back to your car?
Ariel was very naive, and she didn't understand what she was caught up in. She knew that she had probably done wrong by going in there. So she knew that she was in trouble.
Ariel says Krista got in the car with Camry, while the rest of them piled in her car.
Ariel says that after the home invasion, they dropped off the stolen items at a friend's house.
Ariel tells the detective that she and Krista then took Kedrick home and went to the store to try and use the stolen credit cards. Oddly, she doesn't mention that someone fired a gun.
But the problem is, the big problem is, who fired that shot? Because that just made it go from here to here. Did you hear it? You don't know who shot?
After that, they arrested me and they locked me up. It was a lot of emotions. I cried a lot.
Investigators believe that she's still not telling the whole story.
Of course, you know, when you love somebody, you want to protect them.
Fayette County investigators have just arrested Ariel Clark after she confessed to helping her boyfriend, Kedrick McGee, the father of her unborn baby, and 4 other people commit a home invasion. They confiscate her phone to track down the others involved.
The investigators needed to verify Ariel's statement, and they also needed the name of the third robber.
Then, on January 11th, 2016, before investigators even reach out to the others, 2 of them call the station.
The investigators then received a call from Ariel's cousins, Krista and Camry, saying that they wanted to come in.
Krista and Camry, they were less forthcoming. They basically denied or played down whatever they knew.
Krista does admit that she was with Ariel at the time that the stolen credit cards were used, so investigators were actually able to use that and charge her with fraud.
Investigators don't have enough to charge Camry and let her go.
And then a couple hours later, after the police interviewed her, her mom called and said, "Camry wants to talk to you again."
Camry tells a similar story to Ariel's. She admits she was with Ariel, Kedrick, Gino, and Krista, but she doesn't know who the third guy was either.
There was some discrepancy about who was in which car, but ultimately it was pretty clear that the boys went to the home together in the red car, girls went to the home in the gray car.
That's when Camry says she saw them get out with masks on and realized what was about to happen.
She really, really did not want to be there. She actually tried to drive away, and Kedrick stopped her and said, "Don't go anywhere."
But Camry says she was too far away to really see anything.
Camry said she heard a loud noise and she assumed that they kicked in the door. And she heard someone yelling and screaming. And then they came out and they put all the stuff in her car.
And then they told us to hurry up and drive. We had drove off and I just heard gunshots and I got like super scared.
The next day, after spending a night in jail, Krista decides to come clean too.
I did not go in the house at all. That's the thing I did. I didn't go in the house. They said to come at the bottom of the steps, and then they started handing me the stuff.
But Krista admits that Kedrick may have been the one with the itchy trigger finger.
Like when the gunshot happened, like it was nobody in the house. It was only Kedrick in here.
So Kedrick fired the shot?
And then they drove off, and then Kedrick caught up with them.
She said Kedrick threatened everyone to keep their mouth shut.
Why that house? Did he ever say why that house?
Mm-mm.
Although the third man remains a mystery, with the two girls verifying Ariel's statement and filling in some holes, police now have enough for arrest warrants for Gino and Kedrick. With the help of the Marshal's fugitive task force, 2 days later, they find them both. The detective speaks with Kedrick first.
Did you have anything to do with that? You need to tell me now.
I think I'll speak to a lawyer.
With Kedrick refusing to talk, the detective hopes Gino will be more cooperative.
Eugene started out with, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember that. What day was it? And those sorts of things.
After realizing the serious trouble he's in, Gino tells the detective that it was all Kedrick's idea.
He was like, I'm about to go hit Brittany house and all this stuff.
Why'd he pick Brittany?
Gino tells the detective that Kedrick used to date Brittany's friend.
I guess they don't like them. Like they got problems going on.
Gino said that he did not want to do the home invasion.
So I assumed they were gonna take me home, but they ain't take me home.
His story of how he ended up at the house is also like the girls. But he gives investigators a gift: the identity of the mysterious third man.
They had went to go pick up the other dude.
What's his name again?
Amarius Westmoreland.
Gino tells the investigators that the third person was their 17-year-old cousin, Amarius Westmoreland.
What did Amarius say?
He agreed with it. He said, all right.
Gino tells the detective that after they drove to the house, he felt pressured to go in. Gino claims that Kedrick gave him the clown mask, the gloves, and a gun from his trunk.
And I kept telling him, like, I ain't want to do this.
Ariel saw a lot of potential in Kedrick. Once she became pregnant by him, she felt it was a sense of loyalty to continue to support him with his visions and his dreams for them. Her being pregnant by him can draw a lot of different emotions that can cause her to possibly be swayed in a lot of different areas. So a lot of times people think they're in love, but really it's the luminance of love.
January 2016, Fayetteville, Georgia. Ariel Clark's boyfriend, Kedrick McGee, and Eugene Gino Butler have both been arrested for the home invasion of the Rodriguez family. Gino comes clean to investigators about what happened that night.
Ultimately, it was Eugene's version that made the most sense, chronologically and proximately.
What kind of gun did you have?
He says he and Kedrick had handguns, and Amarius had a shotgun.
Amarius, like, he knocked on the door and all that stuff, and that's when Kedrick had kicked in the door and had ran in there.
Gino said that he followed Kedrick into the bedroom of the parents, and that Kedrick pointed the gun at both of them.
But he was like, get down, don't move.
Gino tells the detectives that Amarius went into Brittany's room with the gun. He pointed the gun at her and took her phone and her purse.
Gino confirms that both Ariel and Krista went into the home. After they put all the stuff in Camry's car, he also confirms that Kedrick fired the gun.
He was still in the house?
By his stuff he had shot, then he had ran.
With Gino's statement added to Krista and Camry's, it's clear to investigators that although Ariel confessed, she still tried to shield her boyfriend.
She didn't admit that he had a gun on him. She acted like she didn't see him break the door in. She left out that it was his idea and he was the one that fired the gun. She seems to still be protecting him.
She still maintained a loyalty. That's why she did not tell and disclose that her boyfriend was the one that actually shot the gun.
I love him and I don't want him to get in any trouble. So I feel like I have to protect him.
On January 19th, 2016, police find Amarius Westmoreland and bring him in.
Amarius' statements were, I was just along for the ride. I didn't really know what they were doing. And ultimately, he agreed that he did it.
With the last one in custody, investigators charge all 6.
Ultimately, they were all charged with armed robbery, all charged with aggravated assault, all charged with credit card fraud, and all charged with burglary.
The 3 guys are also charged with possession of a firearm during a crime.
The Rodriguez family was so relieved when they found out that they had been arrested. They felt like justice had finally been served.
Despite their ages, if convicted, they all face serious time.
Me loving him as much as I do, I felt like I had to be there to make sure that bad doesn't go to worse. In my mind, I felt like somehow I could stop things or prevent it from being even more complete chaos.
Instead of going to trial, Ariel decides to make a deal and pleads guilty to burglary.
It was a 10-5 where I would have 5 years to spend in the prison and then 10 years on probation.
I was able to convince the prosecutor that she was more of a victim than she was a defendant in this case, that she was caught up with a boyfriend who was running with some bad people.
The others decide to make deals as well. Krista receives the same sentence as Ariel, but Camry's charges are dropped.
Camry, who we decided to dismiss all the charges against because she really was called in completely after the fact. She did not go in.
Instead, she pleads guilty to making a false statement to police and receives 3 years probation. The boys don't get off so easy.
Kedrick McGee ultimately pled to an armed robbery, followed by 10 more years for aggravated assault, followed then by 10 years of probation for participating in the credit card fraud. He's currently still serving his sentence.
Eugene and Amarius also received 20 years, plus 10 years probation.
They did not plead to armed robbery. They pled to aggravated assault and burglary, as well as the theft charges, which means they are eligible for parole much sooner than Kedrick is.
However, nothing can take away the terror and the anguish that this family experienced in their own home. Your home is your safe space